This is Iceland, a volcanic rock alone in the North Atlantic, where the wind can tear the door off your vehicle, wild camping is illegal, and a tank of fuel costs more than a fine dinner back home. It may be the hardest place on Earth to live in a van, yet every summer, thousands of travelers land at Keflavik Airport, pick up a camper van, and drive into it. They sleep beside glaciers the size of small countries. They cook dinner under volcanoes that erupted months ago. Some of them are in their 70s. So why do they keep coming, year after year? To understand why anyone would live in a van here, you first have to understand the island itself. Iceland sits alone in the North Atlantic, a volcanic rock roughly the size of Kentucky, home to fewer than 400,000 people. Yet every year, more than 2 million visitors arrive. Most of them come for one reason. Nowhere else on the planet packs so much raw nature into such a small space. Glaciers cover about a tenth of the country, including Vatnajökull, the largest ice cap in Europe. Beneath that ice, active volcanoes simmer quietly. Along the south coast, black sand beaches stretch for miles under towering cliffs, while waterfalls like Skogafoss and Seljalandsfoss pour off the highlands in curtains of white. The landscape changes so quickly that driving here feels like crossing several different planets in a single afternoon. 1 hour you are passing green farm valleys dotted with Icelandic horses. The next you are crossing a black lava desert that looks like the surface of the moon. A hotel routes you to one place. A van lets you follow the island as it unfolds. And there is a road built for exactly that. Route 1, better known as the Ring Road, circles the entire country in one continuous loop of roughly 820 miles. It links nearly every famous site in Iceland, from the geysers of the Golden Circle to the glacier lagoon at Jökulsárlón, where blue icebergs drift silently toward the sea. But here is the problem with doing that loop the traditional way. Hotels and guest houses along the route are scattered. They book out months in advance, and in high season, a modest room can cost $200 or $300 a night. Meanwhile, the best moments in Iceland rarely happen on a schedule. The clouds part over Kirkjufell Mountain at 10 in the evening. A pod of seals appears in a fjord at sunrise. The northern lights flare up at 2 in the morning. Travelers figured out long ago that the solution was simple. Bring your bedroom with you. Park where the beauty is. Wake up inside the postcard instead of driving to it. Before we roll any further down this road, we would love to know where you are watching from and whether a trip like this is on your own list. Tell us in the comments below. Now settle in, because the people you are about to meet on this island are probably not who you expect. Walk through any Icelandic campsite on a July evening and you will notice something surprising. This is not a young person's game. Yes, there are backpackers and honeymooners, but parked beside them, you will find retired couples from Germany and the Netherlands who ship their motorhomes over on the ferry from Denmark. You will meet American retirees in their late 60s who rented a camper for 3 full weeks, ticking off a trip they postponed for 40 years. You will find widowers traveling alone, school teachers on summer break, and couples who sold their houses to travel while their health still allows it. Talk to them at the campsites and you hear the same sentiment over and over. They spent their working lives looking at Iceland in magazines, and they refuse to see it through a tour bus window. These travelers are not roughing it out of necessity. They are choosing the van deliberately, because it turns a vacation into an expedition. But that alone does not explain why they put up with the wind and the prices. To get closer to the answer, start with the machines they live in. The vans themselves come in every shape imaginable. At the entry level are the compact rental camper vans you see everywhere on the ring road, small vehicles with a fold-out bed in the back, a single-burner gas stove, a cooler, and curtains on the windows. One step up are the proper campers with standing headroom, a diesel heater for cold nights, a small sink, and solar panels on the roof to keep the batteries charged. And then there are the machines built for the interior of the island, four-wheel drive campers with raised suspension and heavy tires, designed to ford glacial rivers in the highlands. Inside, life is reduced to essentials: a bed, a kettle, a drawer of warm clothes, a map. There is no television and often no reliable signal. People who live this way for a few weeks describe something unexpected happening. The clutter of ordinary life falls away and the days become very simple. Drive, walk, eat, sleep. Many say they have not felt that kind of clarity since childhood. So what does that clarity actually look like, hour by hour? A typical day on the road in Iceland begins early, whether you like it or not, because in June, the sun barely sets at all. Imagine waking in your van on the shore of a quiet fjord in the West Fjords, the water outside completely still, mountains reflected on its surface like glass. You slide open the door, light the camp stove, and make coffee while eider ducks paddle past. There is no checkout time and no itinerary. By mid-morning, you might be standing behind the waterfall at Seljalandsfoss, feeling the spray on your face. By afternoon, you could be walking the black sand beach at Vik, watching Atlantic waves crash against the basalt sea stacks. When evening comes, you simply drive until you find the next campsite, perhaps in a green valley full of grazing sheep, and cook dinner as the midnight sun turns the sky gold. And the days keep changing character as you move around the island. In the north, travelers park near Husavik and board wooden boats to watch humpback whales surface in Skjalfandi Bay. Further east, the road narrows and winds through quiet fishing villages like Seyðisfjörður, where a rainbow-painted street leads to a pale blue church. At Dettifoss, the most powerful waterfall in Europe, you can feel the ground tremble under your boots long before you see the water. No 2 days repeat themselves. The van is what makes that rhythm possible. Take it away, and you are back to checkout times and tour schedules, watching the island through glass. Of course, a life this romantic still runs on very unglamorous logistics, and Iceland has quietly built a system to support it. The gas stations are the unsung heroes of this lifestyle. Chains like N1 dot the ring road, and they function as far more than fuel stops. Travelers refill their drinking water there, buy coffee and hot dogs, use the restrooms, and trade road condition reports with strangers going the opposite direction around the loop. Many stations and campsites provide dumping points for gray water and chemical toilets, and the etiquette around using them properly is taken seriously because Iceland has seen what happens when it is not. Laundry gets done at campsite machines in the larger towns, usually in Akureyri or Reykjavik, timed to coincide with a grocery run and a night with hot showers. Phone coverage, surprisingly, is excellent along the main roads, so travelers navigate easily and stream the weather forecast from almost anywhere. The whole support network means that a couple in their 70s can live comfortably on the road here without any special expertise. You do not need to be a survivalist. You need a rented camper, a water jug, and the willingness to plan your day around the sky. But there is one thing you cannot do here, no matter how experienced you are, and it catches new arrivals off guard every single summer. For decades, travelers in Iceland could pull over almost anywhere and sleep. That era ended. In 2015, after tourism exploded and fragile moss fields began showing tire tracks and litter, Iceland changed its nature conservation laws. Today, sleeping overnight in a vehicle outside a registered campsite is illegal in most circumstances, unless you have the landowner's direct permission. Police and rangers do enforce it, and the fines are real. Fortunately, Iceland responded by building one of the best campsite networks in Europe. Nearly every town has one, often with hot showers, cooking shelters, and laundry. Fees typically run somewhere between $10 and $25 per person per night, a fraction of any hotel. Budget travelers often buy a seasonal camping card, a flat fee pass that covers dozens of campsites around the country. The freedom is still there. It just comes with a designated parking spot at the end of the day. Now we come to the true ruler of van life in Iceland, and it is not the law. It is the weather. Icelandic weather does not behave like weather anywhere else. Locals joke that if you do not like it, wait 5 minutes. But the joke hides a serious edge. Storms roll off the North Atlantic with astonishing speed, and wind is the great enemy of anyone living on wheels. Gusts in exposed areas regularly exceed 60, 70, even 100 miles per hour. Rental companies warn every customer about the same expensive mistake. You open your van door without holding it, a gust catches it, and the hinges bend backward or snap entirely. Door damage from wind is so common that many insurance policies specifically exclude it, along with damage from volcanic ash and sandstorms on the south coast, where flying black grit can strip the paint off a vehicle in minutes. Experienced van travelers develop a daily ritual. Every morning before coffee, they check the Icelandic Weather Service and the Road Administration website because mountain passes close, bridges shut, and travel warnings appear with little notice. In Iceland, the forecast is not small talk. It is survival information. Yet for all its dangers, Iceland may also be the safest place in the world to get into trouble, and van travelers feel that every day. The country is watched over by ICESAR, a volunteer search and rescue organization with teams in nearly every town. Fishermen and farmers and office workers who drop everything when a storm strands a camper on a mountain road. Their official travel service lets visitors register their route, so if a van goes silent in the highlands, someone comes looking. Crime, meanwhile, is almost a foreign concept. Iceland regularly ranks as the most peaceful country on Earth, and campers routinely leave their doors unlocked at trailheads without a second thought. Then there is the community of the road itself. Campsites in the evening take on the feel of a small traveling village. Retired couples compare routes over folding tables. Someone shares extra fish soup. And strangers who met at a waterfall that morning end up drinking coffee together while the sun refuses to set. Solo travelers, especially older ones, often say this is what surprised them most. They came to Iceland expecting solitude and scenery. They found scenery, certainly, but also more genuine conversation in 3 weeks on the road than in 3 years at home. Hold on to that detail because it is part of the answer to our question, but the first part of that answer is the one everyone asks about before anything else: money. Iceland is famously one of the most expensive countries on Earth, and living in a van is largely a response to that fact. Fuel is the biggest shock for visitors. Gasoline at Icelandic stations often works out to somewhere near $9 a gallon, and driving the full ring road with detours can easily burn through several $100s of it. Restaurants are punishing too, with a simple burger and fries in Reykjavik costing what a full dinner might elsewhere. So van travelers adapt the way locals do. They shop at Bonus, the discount supermarket chain with the pink piggy bank logo, stocking up on skyr, rye bread, smoked lamb, and pasta. They cook at campsite shelters and in their vans. And they indulge in the one cheap national treasure, the Icelandic hot dog, made mostly from lamb and served with crispy fried onions and sweet mustard at nearly every filling station. Do the honest math, and the picture becomes clear. A couple traveling by campervan, cooking most meals, can see Iceland for roughly half of what a hotel and restaurant trip would cost, sometimes less. The van is the financial key that unlocks the whole island. That is the practical answer to our question. But nobody books a third lap of the ring road just for the savings. If you are enjoying this journey through Iceland, hit subscribe. Every week, this channel explores how people live and travel in the most remarkable corners of the world. There is a daily reward waiting for anyone willing to live this way, and it is heated by the Earth itself. Iceland sits on a volcanic hotspot, and geothermal water flows underneath nearly the entire country. That means almost every town, no matter how small, has a swimming pool fed by natural hot water, usually with steaming outdoor hot tubs attached. For a few dollars, a road-weary traveler gets a long, hot soak, a proper shower, and conversation with local farmers and fishermen who treat the hot tub the way other cultures treat the coffee house. Beyond the town pools lie the natural springs, the secret lagoon at Fluter, the milky blue Maivatn nature baths in the north, and hidden riverside hot pots known mostly to locals. For van dwellers, these pools solve a practical problem: staying clean without a bathroom on board. But they also provide something deeper. After a day of wind and rain, sliding into hot water under an open Arctic sky, sometimes with snow falling on your shoulders, is the kind of moment people remember for the rest of their lives. Just learn the one sacred rule first. Icelanders insist on a thorough shower before entering any pool, and they will absolutely tell you if you skip it. The pools are where most trips stay, but a small number of these vans are built to go somewhere the rest of the island's traffic cannot follow. The center of Iceland is a vast, uninhabited wilderness of volcanic deserts, rhyolite mountains, and glacial rivers, crossed only by rough mountain tracks known as F-roads. These roads are legally restricted to four-wheel drive vehicles, and for good reason. They are unpaved, strewn with rock, and several of them require driving straight through rivers with no bridge, judging the depth by eye. The reward for that effort is scenery that hardly seems real. At Landmannalaugar, mountains streaked in red, gold, and green rise above a natural hot spring where hikers soak after crossing the lava fields. At Askja, a volcanic crater holds a pale blue lake in the middle of a black desert, once used to train Apollo astronauts. The highlands are open only in summer, roughly from late June until early September, when the snow finally releases the roads. Travelers with four-wheel drive campers plan entire trips around that narrow window because for a few short weeks they can sleep in one of the last great empty places in Europe. Then there are the few who stay when everyone else goes home. Winter van life in Iceland is a different world entirely. By December, daylight shrinks to 4 or 5 hours. The ring road glazes over with ice, and storms can shut down whole regions of the country for days. Most campsites close, though a network of year-round sites with heated service houses stays open near Reykjavik, Akureyri, and along the south coast. Living in a van through this requires serious equipment, a reliable diesel heater, insulated window covers, studded tires, and the humility to sit still when the weather says so. So why would anyone do it? The answer dances overhead. Winter is northern light season, and van travelers are perfectly positioned for it. While hotel guests sleep through the show, the van dweller parked at a dark campsite steps outside at midnight to watch green and violet curtains ripple across the entire sky, reflected in the ice below. Ask them if the frozen mornings were worth it, and they do not hesitate. But honesty matters in a story like this, so let us be clear about what this life actually costs. The bed is narrow, and on the 5th straight day of rain, the walls of a van feel very close indeed. There is no bathroom on board, which means cold walks across a campsite at 3 in the morning. The prices never stop stinging, from the fuel gauge to the grocery receipt. Some days the wind simply wins, and the only sensible plan is to park, make tea, and wait. The law means you cannot chase a perfect sunset and sleep wherever you find it. And every year, a few travelers go home early, worn down by weather that never asked their opinion. Anyone who tells you van life in Iceland is pure freedom is selling something. It is freedom with conditions, and the island writes the conditions. Which brings us back to the question this whole story has been circling. Knowing all of that, why do they still do it? Why do people, many of them old enough to afford comfort, choose a narrow bed on wheels in a country that seems determined to test them? Talk to enough of them and the same answers return. Freedom, first of all. In a van, the day belongs entirely to you, and in a landscape this beautiful, that ownership feels priceless. Simplicity, second. Life reduced to driving, walking, cooking, and sleeping has a way of quieting the mind that no resort can match. And finally, something harder to name. Iceland is a young island, still building itself with fresh lava cooling on the Reykjanes Peninsula and glaciers grinding valleys as they have for thousands of years. Traveling slowly through that, sleeping on it, waking up inside it, gives people a sense of scale about their own lives. Ask the couples finishing their second or third lap of the ring road, and they will admit the wind nearly beat them, that the fuel bill stung, and that some nights the rain on the roof never stopped. Then they tell you they have already booked the ferry for next summer. There is a lesson in that for anyone watching from a comfortable armchair. The people out there on the ring road are not younger, braver, or richer than you. Most of them simply decided that the trip they kept postponing deserved a date on the calendar, and the van made that date affordable. Maybe that is the honest conclusion. Living in a van in Iceland is not comfortable, and it is not always easy. It is cold, expensive, and governed by weather that answers to no one. But for the people who try it, from young couples to 70-year-old adventurers, it offers something that has become rare, the feeling of a genuine journey. Our own journey around the ring road ends here,